The journey into the hidden depths of the mind is not a path for the faint of heart, because it requires you to look directly at what you see and tell yourself that it is not the final truth. Most people go through their entire existence being pushed around by what they observe with their eyes. They wake up in the morning and look at the weather, their phone, their bills, and their physical reflection, and they allow these external items to decide how they will feel for the rest of the day. They are essentially living as mirrors, reflecting back whatever is placed in front of them. But I am inviting you to stop being a mirror and start being the light that creates the image. This requires a total shift in how you handle what we call facts. A fact is nothing more than an observation of something that has already happened. It is a report on the past. If you base your future on a report of the past, you are simply walking in a circle. To break out of that circle, you must learn the art of ignoring what is currently visible so that you can focus on what is possible. This is the only way to invite a new reality into your experience. You must understand that your consciousness is the only real cause of everything that happens to you. The world you see outside is an effect, and an effect cannot change itself. You cannot stand in front of a mirror and try to force the reflection to smile while you are still frowning. You must smile first, and then the reflection has no choice but to follow. When I tell you to ignore the facts, I am telling you to stop trying to fix the reflection. Stop trying to argue with people. Stop trying to manipulate circumstances, and stop trying to force doors open through sheer physical struggle. Instead, go within and change the person who is casting the shadow. The facts of your life are merely the shadows of your former thoughts. If you don't like the shadow, you don't fight the shadow. You move the light. This requires a mental discipline that most people never develop. It is easy to be happy when your bank account is full and your body is healthy. Anyone can do that. But the true creator is the one who can feel wealthy while the account is empty and feel healthy while the body is tired. This is not about lying to yourself in a way that is delusional. It is about recognizing that the internal state is more real than the external appearance. The external is always a few steps behind. It is like the light from a distant star that takes years to reach our eyes. What you see is what was, not what is. Your true current state is whatever you are feeling right now, in this very moment. If you can maintain a feeling of success and peace, despite what the news or your neighbors say, you are literally rewriting your future. You are planting new seeds in the soil of your mind, and by the law of growth, those seeds must eventually push through the surface and become your new facts. The reason most people stay stuck in the same cycle for decades is that they are waiting for proof before they change their mood. They say they will be happy when they get the job, or they will be generous once they have more money, or they will be confident once they lose weight. They are waiting for the world to give them permission to feel a certain way. But the world cannot give you what you do not already possess inside. The world is a giant echo chamber. If you shout lack into the world by focusing on what you don't have, the world will echo lack back to you in the form of more bills and more problems. If you want the world to shout abundance, you must first provide the sound. You must walk through your day with the internal sound of enough. You must breathe with the internal sound of freedom. You must sleep with the internal sound of fulfillment. This inner sound is your assumption. It is the silent declaration of who you are. Do not let the loud noises of the world drown out this quiet inner certainty. When the world shows you a closed door, you must see an open one in your mind. When the world shows you an empty chair, you must see the person you love sitting there. This is how you use your imagination to override the temporary facts of the moment. You must become very selective about what you allow to enter your mind. We live in an age where we are constantly bombarded with information, and most of that information is designed to make us feel small, afraid, and limited. Every time you read a scary headline or listen to someone complain about how hard life is, you are letting them plant weeds in your garden. You must be a fierce protector of your mental space. You don't have to be rude to others, but you must internally reject any idea that does not align with the life you want to lead. If someone tells you that the economy is bad, you should silently say to yourself that your personal economy is thriving. If someone tells you that you are too old or too young to achieve your dream, you should remind yourself that timing is a servant to your will. This is the practice of living from within. It means that you no longer look to the outside for clues on how to feel. You decide how to feel and you let the outside try to keep up. It takes courage to do this because your friends and family might think you are being unrealistic. They might try to pull you back to earth by pointing at the facts. But you must remember that their earth is just a collection of their own past assumptions. You are building a new heaven and a new earth inside yourself, and you do not need their permission or their agreement to do so. Think of your life as a movie that is currently playing on a screen. If you don't like the movie, you don't go up to the screen and try to scratch off the images. You go back to the projection booth and change the film. Your imagination is that projection booth. Whatever you play, there will eventually show up on the screen of your life. The delay between the booth and the screen is what we call time. This delay is actually a gift because it gives you the chance to correct your thoughts before they become permanent. If you have a negative thought, you don't have to panic. Just notice it and replace it with a better one. The problem is that most people spend their whole lives staring at the screen and crying about the movie, never realizing that they are the ones holding the film. They are so busy reacting to the scenes that they never go back to the booth to start a new show. I'm telling you to leave the theater for a moment. Go into the silence of your own heart. Decide what kind of story you want to tell. Do you want a story of adventure, love, and wealth, or a story of struggle and survival? Once you decide, stay in the booth. Keep that new film running in your mind until you start to believe it. When you start this practice, the old movie will still be playing for a little while. This is the period of contradiction. Your mind says you are successful, but your eyes see a small apartment. Your heart says you are loved, but the house is quiet. This is the testing point. Most people give up here. They say that this method doesn't work because they don't see immediate results. But you must be more stubborn than your senses. You must say to yourself that the apartment and the silence are just scenes from the old movie that are still finishing up. They are the yesterday that I talked about. They have no power to stop the new film from appearing. If you can stay in your new feeling during this middle period, you will eventually see the transition. One day, you will look around and realize that the scenes have shifted. The apartment has been replaced, the house is full of laughter, and you are living the life that you once only imagined. This is not magic. It is the natural law of your being. You are always manifesting who you are. The only difference is whether you're doing it on purpose or by accident. To live this way, you must also change how you talk to yourself when no one else is listening. Your inner conversations are the blueprints for your future. If you spend your day mentally arguing with people or rehearsing how you will defend yourself against a problem, you are actually creating more of those problems. You are telling the universe that you are a person who needs to fight and defend. Instead, start having inner conversations that imply your wish has already come true. Mentally, thank people for their help. Mentally, hear your friends congratulating you on your success. These inner sounds are much more powerful than any words you speak out loud. They are the true vibrations of your soul. When your inner talk matches your desire, the outer world must fall in line. It cannot resist the weight of a focused mind. You don't need to shout your goals to the world. In fact, it is often better to keep them secret. When you keep your vision inside, you keep the pressure high, like steam in a boiler. This internal pressure is what drives the change. If you talk about it too much with people who don't understand, you let the steam out and lose the power to move. The middle of the journey is where the real transformation takes place because it is the period where you must prove your loyalty to your vision. When you decide to ignore the facts and live from the feeling of your wish fulfilled, the world does not always change the very next second. There is almost always a gap between your internal shift and the external evidence. This gap is the training ground for your spirit. It is easy to believe in wealth when you are looking at a pile of gold, but the true master believes in wealth while looking at an empty hand. This stage of the process requires you to be intellectually and emotionally independent of your surroundings. You must develop a kind of holy stubbornness. When the world points to a lack of results, you must look inward and see the abundance you have already claimed. You are not being dishonest, you are simply being faithful to a higher truth. The facts you see are nothing more than the physical echo of where your mind used to be. If you react to them with fear or frustration, you are essentially grabbing a steering wheel and turning back toward the old life you just tried to leave. The secret to crossing this middle ground is to remain unmoved by appearances. If you see a bill you cannot pay, do not let it dictate your state of being. Instead, acknowledge the piece of paper as a remnant of an old state of lack, and immediately return to the feeling of being fully provided for. You must reach a point where your inner world feels more solid and more certain than the street you walk on. This is what it means to walk by faith and not by sight. Sight is the historian of what has already happened, but imagination is the prophet of what is becoming. During this second part of your transformation, you will encounter the greatest resistance from your own habits. Your brain is wired to look for danger and to prioritize what it can see and touch. It will try to pull you back into the reality of the facts because it thinks it is keeping you safe. It will whisper that you are being foolish or that you are losing your mind. You must treat these thoughts like passing clouds. Do not fight them, for fighting only gives them more energy. Simply observe them and say to yourself that they belong to a person you no longer are. You are building a new mental home, and like any construction project, there is a period of mess and dust before the finished structure is visible. Most people quit during the dust. They see the construction site and think the house is ruined, not realizing that the old must be cleared away to make room for the new. This is why you must refuse to be governed by the tyranny of the senses. Your senses are limited. They can only report on a tiny fraction of the universe. Your imagination, however, is infinite. It can go anywhere and be anything. When you stay in the middle ground, your primary job is to protect your mood. Your mood is the atmosphere of your soul. If you keep your atmosphere high and light, the seeds you have planted will grow quickly. If you let your mood become heavy and dark because of current circumstances, you are effectively chilling the soil and slowing the growth. One of the most important tools during this phase is the discipline of inner silence. The world is full of opinions, and if you listen to too many of them, you will lose your way. People love to tell you why things won't work. They love to cite statistics and share stories of failure. You must close your ears to this. You are not a statistic. You are a conscious creator. Your path is unique to you, and it is powered by your individual assumption. If you find yourself in a conversation about how bad things are, you must learn to be there physically, but not mentally. Let the words wash over you without sticking. Inwardly, maintain your own conversation. Remind yourself that everything is working out perfectly. Tell yourself that doors are opening that you cannot yet see. This inner dialogue acts as a shield against the negativity of the collective mind. You must become your own best friend and your most consistent supporter. Do not wait for someone else to tell you that you are doing a good job or that your dream is possible. Tell it to yourself. The more you repeat your new assumption, the more natural it will begin to feel. Eventually, the new state will become so familiar that you won't even have to try to maintain it. It will become your new normal, and that is the moment when the physical world has no choice but to change. The world must reflect your natural state of being. Persistence in the middle ground is not about effort or straining. It is about staying in the state. If you were to walk into a theater to watch a movie you have already seen and loved, you wouldn't worry during the sad parts of the film because you know the happy ending is coming. You would sit through the tension with a quiet smile, knowing that the hero wins and the problem is solved. This is how you should view your current life challenges. They are just the sad parts of a movie that you have already finished in your mind. You know the ending because you have chosen it. Therefore, the current drama has no power to truly upset you. You can watch the facts unfold with a sense of curiosity rather than fear. You can ask yourself how the universe is going to solve this one, knowing with absolute certainty that it will. This detachment is your greatest strength. It allows you to move through life with a grace and a peace that other people will find mysterious. They will wonder how you stay so calm when things seem to be going wrong. Your secret is that you know things aren't going wrong. They are simply moving toward the fulfillment of your assumption. The bridge of incidents that leads to your goal often looks like a series of accidents, but from the perspective of the end, every step was necessary.